what year it was, but I know that we met at it was either a conference or some kind of a talk on healthy living. And Ted saw that advertised. And anytime anything came up about health, he was on it. So he said, let's go into the city. We lived in Huntersville. Let's go into the city and listen to this. So we went, and that's where we saw you. That's where we first met you. And we hadn't we were eating meat, we weren't vegetarians or anything like that, but we really wanted to be healthy. So after listening to you, we came up and talked to you at the end of the presentation
At the
and
game.
got some information on how to get in touch with you, and that's how we met you.
That's right, folks. So she's referring to, was that 2012? I think that was the year she
Yes,
was born. So
yes,
it's
that's
about
right.
6 years ago. It was an event. I was part of a panel discussion at the Harvey B. Gantt Center uptown, like the African American Cultural Center, the Harvey B. Gantt Center. And her late husband Ted attended. They were in the audience, and evidently they were impressed with some things I had to share. They approached me, as she said, and subsequently they both became personal training clients at the Body of Your Dreams personal training studio. Man,
That's right.
that was a great 10-year run, I tell you. So I appreciate you sharing that backstory. Gerri, show us your book. You're an author. You are an author. Show us your book. We want to see it.
All right, let's see if I can
Tell us
get
a
it
little
in the
bit about it.
frame here. This is the book, From Lemons to Lemonade. And it kind of talks about the journey that I went on after I lost Ted and my son Latif. And it was a 1 year, it's kind of like a 1 year journey. And what I did was I moved from North Carolina to New York City, where I'm from originally, to live with my daughter. And she had a small apartment in New York City. And I put all my stuff in storage in North Carolina and moved up there because it was just too painful to be in North Carolina at that time. And so I had a 1 year project with grief therapy, and then a project that I called 100 Days of Happy, where I went around and every day I found something to be happy about and shared it on Facebook. And that really lifted my spirits. It actually did. And so I wrote about that whole process in the book.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I remember, vividly. First of all, I've got to say it was so enjoyable training both you and Ted.
Oh, thank you.
And I remember vividly, you two would pull up 30 to 45 minutes before the session started.
That's right. We were always early.
You two were early. Oftentimes, I was pulling up after both of you. Not that I was late, but it was just that you two were early. And
Yes.
sometimes you pull up and not be in there either meditating or taking a nap. And
Oh,
I remember it was such an honor and a pleasure to work with both of you.
thank you.
Ted, I miss him. He was pretty much, like the only elder African American man that had my ear.
Okay.
And I appreciated the things he shared, his wisdom. You know, it was beautiful to have both of you interacting with, week by week. I miss him. Ted was ripped like me.
Yep.
He was muscular. Ted was. If you saw Ted, you would have said, "Goodness gracious, this dude can't be in his 60s."
Yeah.
He,
Exactly.
he was muscular, just a solid man. I miss him. I miss him. He was great. He was just awesome. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of elderly black men to talk to, so he was the one person that was in my life, and I, I listened to him more than I spoke.
Okay. Good.
So I would like to give my co-host an opportunity to ask you, because I'm sure Chase has a question that he would like to start off with. And of course, Gerri, I've got a question or a
Okay.
few questions to ask you as well.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, so once again, I'm Chase Davis. It's nice to meet you,
Nice
and
to meet
I think it's really cool that you wrote a book. So I just have a couple questions to ask. Um, First, you eat a plant-based diet or a vegan diet?
you. Was that? Do you mean before I met Shabaka?
Um, Either way, before
Or
or
no?
after.
Okay. So before we met Shabaka, we didn't eat junk food, but we ate a meat based diet. And but we always tried not to eat junk food because we wanted to stay as healthy as possible. But after listening to Shabaka, we realized that we probably could feel and look a whole lot better. So that's when we decided to go on the it wasn't called a challenge at that time. It was a meal plan.
Mhm,
Right.
It has evolved quite a bit
mhm,
since we first started.
mhm.
So so we started training with Shabaka and following his meal plan, and we can get into it a little later in the broadcast. But I really, we both had great results, but I really had some extraordinary results after only about 30 days.
Okay.
And I tell you what, this is a good segue into. I'm sure Chase has a few questions, and perhaps what I'm going to ask Jerry will tie in with the questions that Chase has.
Okay.
Um, at that time, Jerry, and we're going back to 2012, if my memory's serving me well.
Yeah.
When, yep,
Hmm.
yep. My son was just born in February of that year, and I was working with you and Ted during that time.
Yes.
And I believe even I was working with your mom during that time as well, too. So I was training Dr. Harriet Davis as well. Um, how did back then? How did going plant based impact your health numbers at that time?
Okay.